Do you know that your entire life runs on habits? Do you want to know how to fix the bad ones and how to make some incredible ones a part of your daily routine? Well, stick around. My guest today has got tons of answers on how to make that a part of your daily reality. Let's do it. Your mind is a beautiful thing, but if left unattended, it can get ugly real quick. If you're not constantly curating the content your mind consumes on a daily basis, then your surroundings will dictate your daily thoughts, habits, behaviors, and actions. This show has only one goal: to leave your mind more beautiful than it was when you arrived. Welcome to the Beautiful Mind Show. Hey guys, welcome to the Beautiful Mind Show. My name is Jason Everett, and as I said, I want to help make sure that your mind is absolutely beautiful. After today's session, if you're kicking it with me live, I'd love for you to do me a favor. Drop a comment in and say, here live. I want to know who's on, who's partying with us, and what kind of homies I get to say hello to. On today's show, we're talking about habits. Man, for crying out loud, how many of you have some incredibly bad habits? And I'm not talking about like you bite your nails or you chew your nails, but there's probably habits that are creating your reality around you that you may not even be aware of. And my guest today is actually a #1 best-selling author. She's a speaker. She's been on, she's actually even given some TED Talks and has actually just released a brand new book called The 6 Habits. And I'd like to welcome her to the show. Please welcome to the show, Laura DiBenedetto. What's up, Laura?
What's up?
How are you? Oh, and I should introduce your extra guest who's behind you, your furry friend. Who is your
Where
extra
is she?
bonus
I'm
guest?
like mirrored. That's Bella.
She's chilling.
Bella.
Bella.
Yeah, she's my
Bella.
supervisor. Everybody needs a boss.
I like it. Yeah, I feel like somebody needs to tell you what to do. And yeah, so I'm glad we got 2 podcast guests for the price of 1 today. So
Yes.
solid. Now,
Yep.
you just released a new book. It's called The 6 Habits, Practical Tools for Bringing Your Dream to Life. Can we talk about habits today? Because I think it's kind of your jam. Is that cool?
Yes, I desperately want to talk about habits. Let's do it.
Desperately. So can we talk for a second about bad habits? What are some habits and what are some habits in general that you think people deal with that you kind of said right before the show, like there's habits that people don't even realize they have as habits. You were
Yeah.
saying something about that. Tell me more about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, so we all know what habits are, right? I mean, you have
Right.
things that you do repetitiously every day without thinking about it. Whenever you put
100%.
your this is a silly joke, but you're totally going to get it. It's like there are people in the world who put on their shoes and socks, sock shoe, sock shoe. And then there's other
Yeah.
people who do
Uh,
sock sock shoe
sock,
shoe.
shoe.
I'm a sock, sock, shoe,
Totally.
shoe kind of gal. Like, I like symmetry, right? But the crazy part is, right? I mean, the rest of those
It-
people are just crazy communists, whatever. But like, I'm just saying, like, we
yeah,
have
that's
habits. And like we
yeah.
do things unconsciously, and that's what a habit is. It's the
Yeah.
unconscious, repetitious execution of
Mm,
something we do or we think or we
mhm.
feel, right? And
Yeah.
most of us know the first part, the doing. I made the whole sock, sock,
Mhm.
shoe, shoe thing.
That's a great example.
It's a silly one, but it's so true.
But it's true. I feel like this is a weird thing to say, but, like, when you take a shower, right, we all have, like, the same routine in the shower, like, we wash our
Yeah.
body or do our hair, like, the exact same way, and, like, I don't know if you've ever been in a spot where, like, the shower's weird or something's wrong, and it throws off your routine of showering, and you're like, "Oh," or
Yes.
you dry yourself off, and you're like, "Who dries themselves off that way, from the bottom up or the top down, or do they do their hair or their body?" Like, we all have this, like, ritual, right? It's these rituals that we
Yeah.
do that, yeah, and by the way, I love it. Jay said, "I'm a sock, sock, shoe, shoe guy." By the way, if you are thanks,
Nice.
Jay, for
Yeah, yeah,
weighing in.
thank you.
You guys need
Welcome.
to weigh in. If you're a sock shoe person, oust yourself now because we want to know. But yeah, we our whole life is made of these
Gotta get
habits. So
started.
what's your belief? It's all good. I figured we'd lose it on the sock, shoe, shoe. Um, what is your take on why our habits exist? I mean, I've heard lots of answers. I'd love to hear yours since you wrote a book on habits. What is your belief about why habits exist in our reality? What are they good for?
Efficiency. Humans are
Yeah, 100%.
wired for efficiency, right? And
Mhm.
we have these massive computing devices in our heads that have a lot of responsibilities. They got to keep us
Yeah,
alive, keep us healthy, keep
yeah.
us out of danger, keep us processing and learning right up and into our old age. Our brains
Right.
are freaking busy, yo. So
Mhm.
we have a lot to do. And the purpose of a habit is a mental shortcut. It's like, I know how to brush my teeth. I'm going to go this
Yeah.
side. I'm going to go this side. I'm going to go sock, sock, shoe,
Uh-huh.
shoe. I'm going to make sure that I distribute my food on my plate evenly. I'm going to do all these things because our brains want to be freed up for the other things. Therefore,
Mm.
that's where, the development of habits come from. It's how we learn, like it's how we speak. And I mean, it's also explains like why some of us speak with an accent, different accents around the world, because
Yeah.
that is a habit of the way of pronouncing that word, because your brain is like, I
Mm.
learned it, I'm good, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Make sense?
So, okay, so I just wanna yeah, I love it, and I always like hearing other people's definitions of it because obviously I study habits pretty massively on a regular basis myself, my habits as well as other people's habits, but I love what you said about that, is it is really this journey of shortcuts, and it's funny, I have 2
Yeah.
boys, my, 4 and 7-year-old, and, like, they haven't developed all their habits yet, right? So for them, it's like, it's not sock, sock, shoe, shoe, it's like sock, run away, play for a minute, scream, cry on me, go brush their teeth, put the other sock on, then maybe grab a shoe because and again, this
I
is
haven't done
real
that in years.
right? This is real life though. I was laughing.
I
I showed up to
know.
work. I showed up to work on my black shirt. There was a white spot right across it, and my operations manager was like, "Is that toothpaste? Do you have the boys to yourself today?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's toothpaste on my shirt," because it was sock, scream, yell, toothpaste, hug dad, cry more. Like there was some random thing, right? And so I think
Not
the
very
idea
efficient, was it?
here well, this is the thing is I get frustrated, and I think this is a good segue to talk about your book here, is that I get really frustrated when I'm in an efficiency route and I have somebody who's out of my efficiency route, i.e., my boys, right? They want to
Yeah,
like cry and do the 15 other things. And I'm like, just get out the door. We can get this stuff done. And your brain short circuits when you break your habit of your efficiency. Cause
yes,
I'm not used to having to deal with that. And if my boys try and break that, that's part of it. But do you think that somewhere in our own minds here, Laura, like there's like that little boy that is sorry, I just saw Sean. He said, I realized I put my socks on and shoes like a 4 or 7-year-old.
you run around in between each activity. Nice.
He goes,
Epic.
sock. Yeah, Sean is like my 4-year-old. Sean, brother, no shame in that. Okay. So in our minds, what like do you think that fight goes on like in real life, like not between me and my 4-year-old or my 7-year-old, but like when we try to change our habits, that's kind of a fight that really happens though, right? Is like I drive to
Yeah,
work one day, I run my business a certain way, whatever, and we're going to talk
yeah,
about your 6 habits, but like if we're going to build in these 6 habits, we're going to have to short circuit all these other habits that we thought were helping us.
totally. So, sad truth,
Yeah,
we're
hit it,
lazy.
hit it.
Even the most ambitious
What?
among us are lazy. I know. Like you and I are super ultra motivated people. It's really
And
evident,
still super
except
lazy.
we love our efficiency. And you ever want to find the most efficient way to do something? Ask a lazy person. That's a
Yeah,
fact. Okay. And like, I like
yeah,
to joke and say that I'm a really lazy person. It's because I find shortcuts and I find efficiencies for everything.
yeah.
Right. And it is so disruptive to me and to you, apparently, with your children's sock and shoe routine chaos with the toothpaste all over the shirt and
You
the
triggered me hard. You triggered me hard this morning.
sorry, man. We can talk about it later. You can get on the couch with Bella and we can have a chat. And discuss your feelings. But like the thing about like efficiency is we want our lives to be a certain way because we want to do what we want to do. And then
Mhm.
when something interrupts that, we get frustrated. And even the acquisition of a new habit, it's like, no, I don't want to do this. This is weird.
Yeah.
This feels like putting my socks on over my shoes. Ew, I don't want to do it
Mhm,
because it's
mhm.
uncomfortable, it's weird, it's foreign, it's like suddenly deciding to speak with a different accent. Like, why the hell would you do that? Like, people want to stick
Right.
with what they know so they can do the stuff they want to do.
Love it.
But habits, oh man, like, if you can
Yeah.
become like a habit master and really master yourself by forcing yourself to be a little uncomfortable there for a bit, you're going to be able to expand, build new neural pathways, and actually
Mhm.
life hack your way into the most efficient life. But you got to get a little uncomfortable first.
And I'll say this too. Give my boys crap for getting toothpaste on me this morning. Shame on you, fellas. But
Shame, shame.
you know who's great? You know who's great at creating new pathways? My damn kids. Like they don't
Yes.
because they don't have so many burned in neural pathways in their mind that already have so much myelin built up that they can't see straight and they can't change out of their
Yep.
habit, right? Like they live in a spot where if I want to teach my son how to play drums or how to snowboard or how to whatever, they're like, yeah, cool, no big deal. Because they don't have all of these bad habits or bad routines they've got to undo. And I think this is the thing as an adult. And I say adult meaning over 18, over 30, over 50, over 60. The older you get, the more bad habits you have because you've been trying to create efficiency. They might be bad habits around wealth. They might be bad habits around your eating habits. They might be bad habits around exercising, right? There's so many different
Yep.
habits that you could be dealing with. It could be around like, hey, when I get stressed out, I eat more food. When I get stressed out,
Right.
I do, I drink or whatever the thing is, right? You start
Right.
building up all these bad habits. So do you have like a habit? But I mean, I know I want to talk about your 6 habits. I'm coming to that, I promise. But
You're
do
gonna
you have
tease
any
the hell
habit
out of it, and eventually we're
busting?
gonna get there.
This is how I do. I'm good at teasing things.
That's how
Do you
you
have any
build it. It's
habit
good.
busting tips? Like, is there an easy way to break a habit that you're like, I don't like that habit. It doesn't actually serve me anymore. Do you have a habit busting
Yes.
tip?
Yes, you have
What's a
to
habit
decide you
busting tip?
hate the habit and actually have this coming to Jesus moment and realize this isn't serving me. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I don't need a gallon of coffee every morning with like an entire container of whipping cream in it and I'm getting fat. Huh, wonder why that is. Oh, I don't know. And you got heart palpitations. I don't know, maybe you want to pump the brakes a bit and realize, this
Yeah.
habit that you think you like because it's something you've acquired over time, you might actually look at it critically instead of in defense of it and decide,
Yeah.
this actually kind of sucks because I hate what it does to me and I hate how it makes me feel. It's like, anyone that's ever like invested in stock market or cryptocurrency or whatever, like the worst thing you can do is get emotional about your investment decisions. And if you're
Hmm.
a habitually emotional person, you're going to be so poor. And you actually have to break the
Yeah.
habit and decide, I hate the habit of being an emotional disaster when I'm dealing with my money. I need to be a stoic person. You have to hate it and then decide what you want instead. And here's the
Mm-hmm.
trick. You have to be so enamored with the idea of what would be great instead that you're actually
Yes.
willing to do what it takes to make it happen.
Dude, this is so spot on. I freaking love this. Okay. So I heard this story a long time ago about this guy who was sitting on a porch and he had an old dog that was sitting on the porch with him. And every couple minutes, the dog would raise his head up and howl. Right. And the guy was like, what the hell's wrong with your dog? Every few minutes, he raises his head and howls. There's something wrong with your dog. And he goes, oh no, he's just sitting on a nail, but he's too lazy to get off of it. So all he's doing is complaining about not getting off the nail. And I love that because it reminds me of what you said is you've got to learn to hate your habits. Can somebody please type in the chat for me? Say hate your habits. You've got to learn to hate your habits and you got to fall in love with the new habits. I promised I was
Mhm.
teasing the hell out of this. We got to take a break when we come back. See that tease? Did you see what I did there? We're teasing it because we're taking a break. We're coming back and then we're going to bust into how do you build 6 new habits you're going to fall in love with and get excited about. And Laura's going to help us to do it all after the short break. Stick around. Would you like to have an even more beautiful mind? Well, we'd like you to have one, and we actually created a 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge, which is a little bit of a choose your own adventure challenge for just 7 days. And I really think you can do anything for 7 days. It's definitely not easy, but it will be simple for you to get access to it. All you have to do is comment anywhere on this video or send me a message on social media that says 7-day, and I'll send you immediate access to not only our Beautiful Minds Facebook group, but also our Beautiful Minds Challenge, where you can go through 3 different areas: your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health, and get challenges in each of those areas that'll help you get a handle on each of those areas inside your life to give you more control over what you want to do every single day. So do me a favor, comment 7-day or send me a message on any social media, and I'll make sure I give you access to our exclusive community group as well as access to the challenge. Thanks so much, and now back to the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Beautiful Minds podcast, where we're excited to help you make your mind more beautiful than it was when you got here. I'm on today talking with an expert on habits. We're bashing bad habits. We're trying to hate the bad habits, right? Let's hate those habits so we can build some new ones and move forward. Talking about that with Laura D. Benedetto, who just wrote a new book called The 6 Habits Practical Tools for Bringing Your Dream to Life. And Laura, we were just talking about the story I was mentioning about the dog who's sitting on the nail, who's just willing to complain about it. What you were saying something, right, as we were taking that break about kind of like what happens when we sit on bad habits.
So it's this old saying or phrase or whatever, and I just love it so much. Like when the pain of staying still outweighs the pain of doing something about it, that's when you will change. And literally
Mm,
not a moment before. It has to hurt
that's
you
good,
so
guys.
much to stay still that you're willing to move. Hello, doggy.
True. And I think that's it, right? Is so many people, and this happens to me all the time. Like, I'm like, well, it doesn't hurt that bad. It's not that big of a deal. Or like that employee
Yeah,
that's not working out. It's like, it's not causing me that much pain. And I do something where I just go, well, let's talk about how much money it's cost you to have that problem. And I'll let them
right.
say, well, I lost $1,000 this month because of that problem. All right. How long has that been a problem? 5 years. All right. Well, what's 5 years times 12 times $1,000? And they're like, holy crap. And you go, so that's what it's actually costing you to have that habit or have that problem. So I'm a big fan of amplifying the bad news because to exactly your point, how do
Right.
you actually get somebody to change? It has to become that painful that you're willing to do something about it. So let's talk about it. I
Absolutely.
want to I want to switch to the other side because I know if I don't get to it, we won't get to it on the show. I want to switch to the other side and talk about some good habits. Can you talk to us about the 6 habits? What are they? And by the way, I also want to say this: if you guys, as you're liking what's going on, I want to give your website out so people can go get it. Can you give your website out, and then we'll talk about the 6 habits?
Sure. You can go to the6habits.com. It's
Cool.
THESIX habits.com.
Perfect. And if you want access to some cool resources, do me a favor and say resources in the chat, and we'll make sure that we'll send you the link. So anyway, what are the 6 habits? Let's jump in. Let's dive in.
Okay, so the 6 habits are not the habits we typically think about. These are the
Yeah.
unseen habits, the things that we ignore, the things that we take for granted because they're so simple and so obvious. You know how like common sense isn't exactly common, falls under this
Hmm.
bucket, right? So the 6 habits are all habits of the mind. Habits of our thoughts, things that govern how we think repetitiously. So, like, here's an example for you, and because people might not understand what mental habits are, right? If you look outside and it's rainy and poopy out there, you're probably going to react the same way you do every other time you open the window and it's rainy and poopy out there. You're probably going to be like, "Ugh, God, I don't want to go out there." And you're going to groan about your commute, right? That's a mental habit. That is the way you perceive that situation repetitiously. So when I was doing all sorts of research and studying human behavior, I learned that we have on average around 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. 80% of them are
60 to
negative
80,000.
and the same ones as the previous day. So
Hmm.
we might want to have a look at that. And if this points to the quality and the quantity of our thoughts, and we're not even paying attention to the quality of our thoughts at all, what would happen if we did? That's really the kind of the thing that really snowballed for me and created this whole thing. So the mental habits I'm talking about are they're in 6 areas, hence the 6 habits. It is how you treat yourself and how you feel about yourself, which are sisters but not twins. It all is governed under the heading of self relationship. Then you've got uh, gratitude, which is your perception of life, and presence, which is your interaction with life. So it's life experience. And then the
Hmm.
third heading, you've got 2 other habits, which is energy management of energy in, which is goodness, and energy out. Which is intention. And I'm happy to explain any and all. I don't, we're not here for an infinite amount of time, but I would
Yeah,
probably
it's okay.
suggest maybe pick your favorite one or one that you're
What
most
would you
curious about, and we'll dive in.
Yeah, let's talk about the energy exchange. As you know, I've been working on a book called, Energy on Demand, and I'm a big fan of energy. But let's talk about energy in, energy out, because I think that
Okay.
that energy exchange flow is a really big topic to me, and I would love, love, love to know from you what that looks like.
Yay. Awesome. I
Is
was
that
really
cool?
hoping
Can
you'd
we talk
pick
about
that.
that one?
Yes. People always ask me about the kindness and acceptance habits, but I actually really love to talk about the latter half. So this is
All
great.
right, let's talk about it.
Okay. So the 2 habits of habit number 5 of goodness and habit number 6 of intention it really points to what kind of energy you invite
Taking
in,
some notes
you
over here.
allow in,
Mhm.
and intention is regarding what kind of energy you're putting out. So, for goodness, we need to be really mindful of what we are putting into our bodies, right? We need to be
Mhm.
mindful and actually have a vegetable once in a while.
What?
Maybe not do meth on the weekends. Just saying, maybe. But like, we got to be really careful about what we pollute our minds with.
Mm,
So the
mhm,
habit of goodness is being a guardian for your well-being and kind of like
mm,
being the big bouncer at the door, be like, nope, nope, nope. So this means no crazy uncle that will not shut up about politics when you don't want to hear it. This means the person that will not stop whining and calling you at 3 o'clock in the morning, asks for advice only to never take it, and just call you again the next day. What do I do? We all know people like this, right? It
mhm,
also means turn off the damn news, get off
mhm.
social media, go outside. So you need to be very mindful of not allowing negative in and also inviting the good in as much as you can. So inviting the good in might be listening to a show like this and watching and just being like, wow,
Yeah,
this is like a vitamin for my soul. I'm like adding something good to my energy, right? And this is
yeah.
all receiving. Goodness is all about receiving energy. It's maybe going for a walk or meditating or calling your best friend, someone that doesn't annoy you, or calling the auntie that just wants to talk about the stuff you love. Like, you got to add the good. These are basically your mental
Mm,
vitamins, right? All the things that are
mhm.
good. Hold your boundaries and be your own energetic bodyguard.
Police, I love it. Mhm.
Yep. So
Yeah,
then
so it's like
intention by
add the good,
contrast,
block the
sorry,
bad, right? It's you said
what?
add the good and block the bad. You gotta do both.
Yeah, I mean, here's the truth. The reason why the book is called The Six Habits and not The Six Ideas is because I can tell you about this. I assure you, your life will be no different unless you do something about it to acquire this
Sure.
as your mental default way of living. Everything in
Mhm.
my book is a lifestyle. It is not something like, yeah, my God, she's so right. Yeah, I should do that.
That's a
And then
great
never do it.
idea.
Right?
Totally.
Like, no, it's like literally, you have to decide that staying put, talking to the uncle that drives you nuts, ingesting so much news it's making you sick, you're not sleeping
Right.
at night, and like getting off social media because you're seeing people doing things you want to do and you're not doing or whatever. And like, you know, realize what's hurting you and actually do something about it. And I will promise you, it is uncomfortable as all hell. It really is, because you're gonna
Mm,
have this addiction. You're going to have these huge like pulls. Your habits don't go down without a fight. To build new ones, you have to take the time and do it when it's uncomfortable and weird.
mm,
Like, ugh, I have to make
mhm.
boundaries. Yeah,
Yeah,
you do. I
yeah.
got to get off Facebook, but I'm going to die if I'm not on Facebook. Actually, you won't.
You're probably
Oddly
not gonna
enough,
die. Yeah.
you won't. But like, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable to get to the promised land, if you will, right? So then the intention is the opposite. It's you and your energy of what you are putting out. It is not
Mhm.
receiving, it is giving your energy. And
Right.
energy flows two ways. It's like a battery, it's the AC and the DC current. So you've got the inflow, which we talked about. The outflow is, what do you want? Get off your butt and do it.
Mhm.
Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to experience? What do you want to feel? So, things with intention would be speaking with clarity, saying what you mean and meaning what you say. It is speaking authentically, not participating in lies, not leaving your dreams on the shelf,
Mhm.
um, going after things and doing stuff that scares you. I, once upon a time, never traveled alone. And then I traveled once to meet a friend. She blew me off in Milan. And I was
Oh,
like,
sweet lord.
I don't speak Italian. Um, okay.
Fun.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I learned something powerful. And I was like, wow, look at this. I can travel alone and have all the gelato. I'm going to do this
Mhm.
a lot. So, I
Yeah.
got forced to face my fears, but it was such a wonderful experience for me because then I started going all kinds of places. I want to be a person who travels and sees the world. So I became
Totally.
one. And I wanted to
Yeah.
start companies. And I have. And I own 3 companies. And I wanted to write a book. I wanted to do a TED talk. And I made it happen. And did I get it all right? No. Did I fail? Yep. But I was willing to try
Oh.
and I put myself out there with intention. I want to
Mhm.
do this. I want to have that. I want to experience this. And I want to be this woman.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
the intention is your energy out, and the goodness is your energy in, and the
Mm,
harmonious blend of the two really just creates a nice
love it.
holistic well-being for you.
I learned something a long time ago. This might get a little woo woo off the deep end for some of you guys. So if you're okay with a quick woo woo, type in woo woo in the chat. But when I learned this interesting thing about kind of creating like a mental shield for yourself, and like you create this kind of like mental physical bubble shield around you, like bubble boy status. And but in as you create this mental shield, that you only want to allow love and gratitude in, and only love and gratitude out as you create this shield around yourself. And what is really fascinating about that is, to your point of like, you really are just saying, look, I want to keep something, not like people are like, I want to keep something here, but if like it's really 2 to 4 feet around you, you're creating yourself in this little like bubble of reality, saying, look, I only want to send good things out. I only want to bring good things in. And I think what it does for people, and I do it with my boys, like before they go to sleep at night, like I actually sit and say, do you want me to put your shield up? Like, do you want to talk about it? So tonight you have good dreams, like all these other things. And
Aw.
it's very powerful. Yeah, it's very powerful for them, because I think it's just that idea of, it is that ability to say you have the power to block out the things around you. You are not at the effect of the reality that's getting thrown in your face. With all the stuff that's going on right now in our reality, I think some people just realize, or just think that they have to accept it and take it all in. And what I love that you're saying is, not only do you not have to accept it, but you get to choose what you take in. And more importantly, you get to choose what you put out. It's a two-way flow. So if you're going to be consciously in charge of what comes in, be consciously in charge of what goes out, and you might start to see your reality shift. And I go back to what you said up front that was really powerful, is that you get to choose, right? You not only get to choose, but you also have to make your bad habit something that you hate, and you have to fall in love with a good habit that you want. Because if you really want to be a speaker for TEDx, or if you really want to be an author, if you really want to be an amazing mom, an amazing dad, if you really want to be a great employee, a great boss, a great business owner, whatever that is, you got to fall so in love with that, and you have to detach yourself from who you've been. That's the only way your habits are going to change. I really enjoyed our discussion today, Laura. This has been super, super good. I just think that more people, and to your point on whether you're watching the show or you're just learning about kind of what are the next stages, find more things that will pump life into you. Because if you don't pay attention to what gets pumped into you, anything will get pumped in. And sometimes that slime, and I say that lovingly for my friends who work in the news and my friends who work on social media, but the slime that gets pumped into your head that you're not in charge of can be extremely dangerous. So pay attention to it. Watch out for it. Laura, you want to leave us any final thoughts?
Yes. Uh, I think it would be really awesome, in defense of yourself, if you and everyone listening had the courage to stand up to your old bad habits that don't wanna die and be like, "Thank you for serving me. You gotta
We're
go."
done. I love it. Guys, sign off with your bad habits. Do it today. I appreciate having you on. You guys, if you guys want, I think Laura's got a really cool happiness quiz. If you want to get access to that, do me a favor, type in happiness. We'll send you the link to her website and get you access to that tool. Laura, it's been a blast. I'll have to have you on another time. It's my pleasure to have you on today. Have a great week. Bye for now, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. If you want to get access to our 7-day Beautiful Minds Challenge, you can either comment below and just say 7-day, and I'll shoot you the information so you can get immediate access to that, or find me on any social media and just send me the message 7-day, and I'll make sure I get that out to you right away. And if you really enjoyed today's show, it would do me a huge favor if you went online, whether it was Spotify, Pandora, or iTunes, or any sort of podcast platform that you can find us on, and search for The Beautiful Mind Show, subscribe to our channel, and then make sure you give us a rating. Every time you give us a rating, it helps us get more eyeballs on our show and help more people have a more beautiful mind. Thanks again for joining us.